how do I a little bit since I've done a live stream and I'm kind of going, where do I go? How do we do it? We're here. We're live. I'm doing okay despite fighting COVID the last few days and then 3.5 weeks on the road. But we're going to be talking about the road trip and the parks and the highlights and the lowlights. And we got some of those and the haul and the stuff we brought. And I've got people with me and all sorts of stuff. So I can't wait. We're going to have some fun. Are you all ready? Hold on. And give me strength because I could definitely use it here. So we've got a lot going on. All sorts of stuff to talk about. Judy, I'm hoping George holds up okay tonight. So do I. Parker's asking, is it mail time? Nope. I'm going to do that one on a different live stream because we've got a lot to cover from this trip and other stuff. So won't be doing mail today, although I do have some mail hiding back there. But that'll be probably in a week or two. But what I do have to talk about this trip and all the good stuff is I have some special guests. So most of you know my wife and my daughter, and I'm going to catch them like, huh, what? And then, of course, Craig, who was our wonderful sponsor on the trip. And then popping in and out, we've got Megan with us, who joined us for a couple days along the way.
Hello.
So she will have some fun. She's at work, so if you see her drop out real quick, that's why. She actually had to do something important.
Yeah.
I know. We will be showing off the stuff that we got on the trip, at least some of it along the way. I've got kind of an itinerary, an agenda. So basically, we hit, how many parks did we hit here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We hit 10 parks. Craig hit 8, and Megan was 3.
Yep.
Something like that. So, big trip. For my family, my wife and daughter, we started off at Cedar Point for a couple days. Those videos have posted up. Eldridge Park, which I definitely want to talk about. That's not up yet. Sylvan Beach, which is up, the nice part of it. Rye Playland, which is when Megan joined us. That one went up today. If you haven't seen it, you need to go see it because there's some funny stuff in it. Coney Island, which will be coming up. Dorney Park, Knoebels, Kennywood, Camden, all have videos coming. Kings Island. So those are coming. So Megan was with us for Rye Playland, Coney, and Dorney. And I think Craig just missed Cedar Point and Kings Island. So that's kind of where we're at. Videos for all of it are going to come. So don't worry. Plus, I've got highlights of the road trip, weird moment kind of stuff, because Margaret and Craig caught me at various times and doing some odd things. So I'm kind of compiling that along the way. So when you watch the Sylvan Beach video and you see the thing that says there's nothing about fascination, that's not exactly true. Because Craig caught that. But you have to wait for that video. So we're just going to kind of throw out stuff. Josh, hey Megan, what was your favorite ride at Cedar Point? She wasn't there, which I just said.
Nope.
Yeah, the imaginary one. No, Megan was just at Rye Playland, Coney Island, and Dorney. So now the name of the trip, as dubbed by Craig, was the Whip It Tour. Because that was the whole goal, was to try to hit every whip ride in the U.S. And there you go.
Nice. Love that.
So if you see today's video, I just have to tell you, there is a point where Craig not only doesn't complain about me singing, but joins me.
Well, clearly I had heat stroke. But
Yeah.
it might not have been diagnosed. Either that or the power of Devo's song is just that incredible.
So got to check it out. And we have to thank Megan for being the camera person at that point. So, so let's just kind of throw this out here. Several of the parks were new. All of it was new for Amber. Some of it for Margaret. Everything for Megan. So, what was your favorite new thing that you got to see and do?
I liked
like-
all the nature. Sorry to interrupt. I
No.
like the nature around Cedar Point, the ocean views. I couldn't ride everything. I like the nature at some of the other parks, especially Upper New York. So sorry, I'm kind of weird.
Yeah, Margaret was at the beach half the time.
The really big lakes, like Lake Erie, that acts like an ocean, it was really weird because it had waves and salt water and just looked like an ocean, but
Freshwater.
it's a lake. It was
It's
really weird.
beautiful. I loved it. I
I've
loved
heard some
every bit.
people say that the lakes up there have lake water or salt water in them.
I said that to mess with you at the time.
No, I heard somebody else say that before that.
Oh, no, because I
Yeah,
on the train.
not so much.
No.
Am I
I was
supposed to
lied
pick
to.
a favorite park or a favorite single thing?
Yes.
Well, it's like me picking favorites. Just
Well, the first thing that comes to mind was I think Dorney was my favorite stop. That was so fun.
not well. There was that stupid white beagle that you kept following around.
Oh, I know. You can't go to any of those parks without hitting the peanuts.
Yeah, Peanuts, Snoopy. By the way, if you don't know, apparently she likes Snoopy.
Just a little bit.
We
Just
never
a little
did
bit.
find that. Yeah, there's the shirt Craig's wearing.
Nice.
I got
So-
my shirt. Should I show my shirt?
Sure.
I got my Snoopy shirt. That was where I got 3 shirts. I'm gonna set you down.
Hey, look, it's a ceiling with a balloon stuck on it.
So I'm gonna try to do this as best I can. It says 2023,
Aw.
and it's got
Nice.
the Dorney roller coasters, and it's got the
Aw.
peanuts on it.
I love it.
Feel that? I could not leave that place without something Charlie Brown. I tried to get something from my mom, but it was not in the card. She's like, it's okay.
So yeah, she was chasing Dorney. Chasing Dorney. She was chasing Snoopy.
Yeah.
So what else did y'all like?
I
The
think
coaster that was like a flume thingy.
flying turns.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah, Craig kind of took flying turns like I take to Phoenix.
Yeah, I really liked flying turns. Flying turns is my favorite non-Disney coaster now.
It is an amazing ride. I was happy it was open this time.
I really didn't know anything about flying turns until I watched the first couple videos. So I didn't think to ask about them while I was on the trip, and I think that seems really fun. I've never been on a ride like that.
It's really cool. Well, there's a reason you haven't been on a ride like that. There's only one.
Well, I've never
Is
been
it-
on that ride then.
Yeah.
Is it technically a roller coaster if it's on a flume instead of on a rail?
It rolls, you coast under gravity power, stays within a track. Wheels stay in the same general alignment. Yep.
Craig, what were you going to say when we all went that direction?
Oh,
You were
The other comment I was going to make, single favorite moment, as scary as it might be, when Whippet was playing in front of the whip. That was a really nice point in time.
It was.
No, that
it was,
whip was a questionable whip ride, but it just was
Yeah.
a perfect snippet in time.
That was a
It
Playland.
really was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
You'll see in today's video. That was just.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
It looked really painful.
It did.
It was sad because whips are such fun rides. They're not painful, except for
Shouldn't
rides.
be.
I don't know what was. Well, I know what was up with it. I don't know.
It was Playland.
That's true. I was
The
alarming how
maintenance-
much Playland was in the news after we got home. I was like,
I know.
oh.
It was
Alright.
Yeah.
horrifying about the group that got stuck on the one spinning ride for whoever knows how long it was before they could get it repaired.
What was the Music
Yeah.
Express? It was 10 minutes going backwards.
That's just
Yeah, I'm
horrifying.
glad I said, yeah, we can skip that. I don't want to wait in that long a line. Let's get dinner.
so I think the contrast between Upper New York and all the things closer to New York City was quite stark. The maintenance and everything. So
Yeah.
The
Um,
first one we went to.
it was just, I think all of us kind of left Rye going, this place is an accident waiting to happen.
The big exception was they did have a really nice old mill.
Yes.
I like the old mill,
That
and
was
their
cute.
carousel was beautiful.
Mhm.
They had that might have.
I think Eldridge was a better
We have
carousel.
so many great carousels on this ride.
Eldridge had, I don't know, because I didn't see all of them, but Eldridge, I think, was
They
phenomenal.
put so much love into that carousel at Eldridge.
Yes, and so the reason I don't have the Eldridge Park video up yet is because I'm taking my time to make sure I do it right. Eldridge was our second stop, and I wish you'd been with us, Megan. For me, in a lot of ways, Eldridge Park was the highlight.
Yeah, it was
Good.
good.
Yeah,
So I
and
have
they
to
did
go
have
back.
a
rebuild
car
it.
on display, so they got a solid honorable mention
Yeah,
for whipping it.
but Eldridge just went above and beyond in the way they treated us and opened the doors and the tour, and just all sorts of stuff. And so, and thank you so much, Mr. Sam. I appreciate that. Yeah, just don't pull the pull cord.
Now, on the Eldridge side, I did order a memory brick for us for the
Oh,
trip.
yes.
Oh, cool.
Good.
Awesome.
They deserve
For
it.
the Coney
They-
Island SirWillow, July 2023. So that should
Yeah.
be
Basically,
in the midway at some point.
everything they had
Yeah.
there was because somebody had to sponsor and pay for it. So the memory brick is when one of the sponsors pays for something to
Yeah.
help get repaired there.
Mhm.
So, if you don't know the story of Eldridge Park, it was a community amusement park, had a roller coaster and everything else, from way back. Had a huge flood in '72, which damaged the park, and then it just kind of declined. In what was it, '84? I think they finally closed it for good, and there was nothing. And in the last several years, they have basically resurrected this
Sorry.
park, rebuilt the carousel. All they had was the frame, and it's just an amazing story,
It's
and
beautiful.
such a passion for these people who've done it. Yeah, it just really, it's a neat story. So I can't wait to show it off to everybody.
Especially because I think that certain parks showed their love and others showed a little bit of apathy. So it was very obvious.
Like Playland.
So Pikachu, did it say Elders Park though? Because that would be perfect. Thanks for calling me old. Eldridge Park. ELDRID. Here, let me see if I can pull up the sign.
Work
So you
happened.
As it has a tendency to do.
Yeah. Just so happens that I'm on the clock. Just happened.
Oh, yep. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, let me see, because I'll try and hide you, but okay, so for those who are not familiar with it, that is Eldridge Park. So now you can see how it's spelled. But just a neat place. So like I said, I'm working on trying to make that a really special video. To give the history of the park, some old historical photos, what's up. They gave us a whole narrated tour, so that's going to show in there too.
And they gave me one of the original bronze ring thingies.
Aww.
Like I said,
Yeah,
I got
they-
two of them. I caught one
He
because
bought
I
one
actually
and
had
then
to catch the ring thing,
they
and then
gave
they
me
had the
one of
special
the
engraved
extras.
one. So
Neat.
got my rings.
George, another ride I really appreciated, but I think I'm in a class of my own, is the Ferris wheel at Coney Island. I really enjoyed that. I'm pretty
That was
sure.
probably the only like quiet area of that place.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And I
That was
saw
so
the
fun.
ocean. I just want to point out I saw some more ocean and nature from it. So anyway.
I
Now-
love that. That was so peaceful.
So the Wonder Wheel was fun. There was only 2 of us that wanted to do the really fun part of Wonder Wheel.
Oh,
But-
and the no, thank you.
I feel so bad for that little baby that got off the rocking car just screaming and crying.
Traumatized for sure. Too
I
young, too
agree
soon.
with the poor kid.
Yeah.
That looked like fun to me.
He was just too
Now-
young. I feel like he could have enjoyed it when he was older, but I don't know because I can't really say because
It-
I've never done one like that. But it was still fun to be on the wheel. It was really good views.
In fairness, I wouldn't have gotten the good pictures and stuff I did if we'd been on the rocking, but
George, do you want to explain the way the Ferris wheel works for anyone listening?
okay, so if you've never seen
Wheel
Dino's
attack.
Wonder Wheel or the whatever they're calling it, the Toy Story wheel or whatever now at California Adventure, basically it's 2 of the cars will roll on a track, so they swing, and then you've got the car in between them that stands still. So it's 2/3 of your cars will swing and roll, a third will sit still. But it's a huge Ferris wheel, so you get to see the whole coast and everything. But the swinging wheel at California Adventure is pretty much the same thing. It's just not 100 years old. Whoop. And we lost Megan. All right, so she's at work for a minute. We'll drop her back in so we're not
So-
staring at the floor.
I think the gear drive on Dino's Wonder Wheel was interesting, though. And it was also interesting how close, if you chose to be stupid, you could have gotten to the mechanicals.
Yeah.
There was not a lot of person proofing in several of the parks, much less than I'm used to seeing at Disney parks and a number of other places.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just strange. I don't know. Coney was interesting. Like I said, I enjoyed the rides. The volume level there. Oh my
Mm.
goodness.
Yeah,
The poor little dogs that were just being forced to sit by the echoing, like
So
that was so loud.
there was one point
It was-
when we went on the not the log flume, but a flume ride and a roller coaster, that there were these people that had a stereo system set up on the beach. We were, a little bit away, and we still couldn't hear each other talk because it was so loud. It was honestly, my chest was shaking with the bass.
Yeah.
Well,
our-
I mean,
And that's when my wife and I ran away and went to the
yeah.
Itinerary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was painful. It was like our brain was like being assaulted by the sound waves. It was that loud.
I don't mind loud music. I'm not that old.
I'm
I
that
still have no pro-
old. I'm that old. Yes.
She's always been that old, but
Yeah.
but I have no problem with loud music. But this was brain shakingly loud.
I think it was legitimately giving the dogs forced to sit there ear damage.
Mhm.
So Caroline's asking, did people brought a stereo system to amusement park? So Coney Island is not an amusement park.
It's like
You've
a
got
fair.
Dino's Wonder Wheel, which is a collection of rides. You've got Luna Park, but it's also right on the beach with an open boardwalk area, so people are all over the beaches and the piers and the shops. So there's this huge walkway with the parks right next to it. So if you've never been to a boardwalk, that's kind of what it is. Coaster Bet, they must have had other events going on. It was just, we were there on a weekend. It was a Sunday, and a lot of New York City was out at Coney that day. They were all enjoying the good weather and the heat and the water. And yeah. So actually, my least favorite park, theme parks in the whole, is all the noise. This makes a theme park noise seem quiet.
It was really bad.
It was extremely loud.
And then I'll say for Craig, I think your other not favorite thing about it is there was not really any. There was a lot of people just kind of smoking in people's faces.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That,
It's
that
like,
was a big problem.
you're there, whatever. We'll just we're trying to get in tight little spaces for rides, and you're just kind of congregating right there. So not very mindful. So
Yeah, it's Coney. And if you read the stories about Coney, I think we experienced Coney. And it was one like, okay, I've been there. I've been on the rides. Now, I wouldn't mind more rides in Cyclone, but I've been there, done that. I'm good.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Been there, done that. We'll get the magnet when I mail it to you.
yeah.
My bad, not leaving it in, not giving.
Let's see. Or let's see. We can do the Cyclone pictures.
There we go.
So why did I get two? Because I actually had something happen on the Cyclone that like never happens. It's handbrakes on the coaster, and we were coming back in from our first ride, and they mistimed it and didn't get us stopped at the unload. So we were about halfway to the load, and they just like rolled through, and off we went for a second round. So, yeah, that was cool. Almost everybody on the train was cheering for the second round, except for that poor lady in front of us. she was not happy. but other than that, we loved it. So, Mr. Codalit, will there be a Coney Island video? But of course, it's coming soon. I think it's actually the next one in the chain to come. So yeah, we will have videos for everything else, Coney, and all the rest of it. There's definitely going to be videos.
Should
now,
I?
Camden Parks, though, don't forget that Coney is actually Dino's and Luna.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Plus a whole host of other stuff.
Kind of mixed in
there's-
together too. They're not like divided or something. They're kind of like all
Yeah.
together.
But that's not the only place we've had the separate pricing. And Margaret, I'll try to not cut you off a third time.
No, you're fine. Feel free. I just thought I would mention, or do you want to mention, George, our multiple Brooklyn bridges?
Okay, so I'm the one driving through New York City. I guess it was kind of my van, and everybody else was like, "Yeah, you get it." And so, so I'm driving, and we decided let's route our ways because none of us have ever been to New York City before. We've got a little time; it's not out of the way. Let's go. Let's drive across the Brooklyn Bridge, and let's go up to what was the name of the park?
Sunset Park.
Yeah,
Was
so
it?
we could look out and see the Statue of Liberty. Well, silly me, I completely blanked on what the Brooklyn Bridge looked like. And there's a lot of bridges in New York. And so I'm going, is this the Brooklyn Bridge? Oh, wait, maybe this is the Brooklyn Bridge. And pretty soon every bridge became the Brooklyn Bridge. Because I couldn't tell.
There's a lot of bridges.
A lot.
A lot of bridges. So Amber filmed across one of the Brooklyn bridges that was the wrong Brooklyn Bridge. But it was fun. So yes, the whole rest of the trip, every time we saw a bridge, look, it's the Brooklyn Bridge. Great.
Yep.
So yeah, that's one. Unfortunately, we didn't get any video of the car. That would have been fun to have. But,
Yeah, we've got a number of still photos and maybe very brief clips, but those were looking out the windows instead of taxi safety cam facing back
Yes.
at the occupants.
yeah, so it was fun. I don't
So
know.
there's an idea for future trips. Need to put in a reverse dash cam.
Yes, for
So
sure.
I was just thinking, I didn't get a whole lot at Coney. What did I get? I got a
A
magnet.
hot dog.
We all got hot dogs at Nathan's. Normally I'm a boring hot dog person. I'm usually just like ketchup, and that's it. But it's Coney, so I had to get the full
Sticker.
chili dog deal.
Yes, good.
So, let me see. What do I have? I know I got something here somewhere. Camden.
And I could toss my shirts that have been worn so far into the mix.
Well, I got a Meg in here somewhere.
That
I
sounds
can-
good, Craig.
Yeah, so Craig's pulling it up. All I see is a white screen at this point. See, it's nothing there yet.
There it is.
Ah, Nathan's shirt is far right. Yes.
Yeah.
And
then for
Wonder
Coney,
Wheel.
we get to the Dino's Wonder Wheel we were talking about earlier, and then the
Mhm.
back side of Luna Park and the front side of Luna Park, even though I did not see any Kraken attacking the coaster. And I've got my Camden shirt that matches SirWillow's and Margaret's, and I have an aquarium shirt, the shirt I'm wearing today, and then some earlier ones from other parts in the trip. Although we didn't get to Kennywood yet in the discussion, so pay no attention to these two turtle shirts in the middle.
So, one thing I don't mention in the video when we get to it is the Nathan's hot dogs are crunchy. Sort of.
Natural
So-
basic
Crispy.
have a snap.
Yeah, they've got
Yeah.
a snap to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm used to hot dogs that when you eat them, they're soft. Even if you broil them, they may be a little crispy on the outside. But the Nathan's, it's definitely a thicker, harder skin. So yeah, it snaps. It's kind of like, oh, that's
I think
different.
the one at Playland snapped better for my dog, but
Yeah,
See, I'm
they
curious
do.
if Playlands were Nathan's hot dogs.
Could have been.
They were expensive ones though.
they
Oh,
were very expensive. But
that was
Yeah, they were up there.
yeah.
Well, I know where your Kraken was. It was running away into the ocean from that noise as fast as it could go.
That's a good point. It may have just been hiding.
Okay, Craig. Best whip. This was actually a point of discussion, and it'll pop up in a couple of the later videos.
Yeah, it was an
Right,
ongoing
Playland.
point of discussion. Right now, I'm going to say that Dorney and Kennywood are pretty much a tie because they have slightly different drive systems. Kennywood is the only one I'm aware of that's operating that is a large chain link drive as opposed to mere cable drive.
Yep. And it was
I
smooth.
like that they're much more lenient on re-rides and things like that. They don't mind if you put your feet on the bar in the front. It's a good point on Dole Whip, but I believe I interpreted that as best whip ride, but best whip. Okay, it's a good point. So best whip attraction. Kennywood's lack of cover is a challenge, though. But at Dorney, even though there was nobody in the queue, they wouldn't let you stay on and re-ride. They had a strict keep your feet flat on the floor of the car policy, which made no sense. And they also added seatbelts, which seemed a little excessive. So
Yeah.
Dorney had a great smooth ride, and they had all the elements, but some of their operating policy was a slight detractor.
Yeah.
Not much, but a little bit.
Dorney, Kennywood, and Knoebels all have great whip rides.
Yes,
So if you're riding any one of them, you can't go wrong.
correct.
Rye, poor thing needs help.
Yeah.
Did we see any balloon twisters at any of the parks? We saw some balloons twisting up in the air, but
what's a balloon twister?
Those that make the
ones that
little
animals. and stuff?
animals.
Oh, the balloon animal guys.
There were
no.
probably some at Coney.
Yeah,
I would
I
be
didn't
surprised
see
if there
them.
wasn't somebody at Coney.
Yeah.
But
I thought that was supposed to be referring to a ride type or something.
Now
so-
the whip that we haven't mentioned yet is Camden's, which was
Yeah.
an
Yes.
interesting one because it had some very interesting and very pretty graphics on it, but the operations were a little off because some of the cars rode pretty well. Some of them you could see, some of the casters weren't even, and some of them were kind of jerky. And they also didn't have any safety gates closing off the ride exit. And
Mhm.
No, there was
I
one
got-
point where this little girl came running up and the ride op stopped the ride while Craig was on it.
Yeah. So that was interesting. I got an e-stop on a whip because they don't have safety gates. So
Yeah.
Camden was an
Camden
interesting
Park.
park, though.
So Camden Park's in West Virginia, and for Amber and I, it was a little bit of a fascination.
Camden Park shirts.
Because Fallout 76, the online version of the game, takes place in West Virginia, and they have Camden Park in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the park actually looks slightly better in the game than it does in real life, even though it's been nuked in the game. It was.
I was surprised to see all the detail, though, George, because I'm unfamiliar. When you showed me all the detail, I had not been previously familiar with that.
Yep.
And I liked the aerial little tram ride over the park because we got to see some farm animals and the ducks in the water.
Their
It's a
uniforms.
Yeah, there's a small sky ride across the
Tiny
parking
one.
lot.
Their uniforms in the park were definitely better than they are in the game, because in the game they're that horrible pink striped monstrosity.
Nice.
So Camden's landmark is the big clown, and there's see if we can get this up so you can see it.
Big clown.
Yeah, there's actually, it's a big road sign. But so in the game, they've got the roller coaster, I mean, almost dead on exactly. But it was a fun ride on this old coaster, but at the same time, you're like, please don't fall apart.
I don't want to be thinking that.
It was so Camden Park, Ride, Playland, and Sylvan Beach, all of them.
The tiny little spinner hammerhead thing was nice.
Yeah, I mean, they all had good parts. They all had things I liked, but they all had things I was kind of going,
Yeah, I think my favorite part of Camden probably actually was the gravity-fed pretzel, just because of the uniqueness.
Yes. Yeah.
The whip could have been in better shape. The scrambler was fine, but nothing all that unusual. And we did have the plank.
Yeah, the scrambler kept making this clanking noise, which I couldn't figure out what it was. Craig figured out it was the seatbelt that hadn't been fastened.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what is breaking apart here?
It got my attention the first time it made that loud crash.
Yeah, it was very interesting. It definitely needed some TLC. A lot of Camden's write-ups needed some major dental work.
It was unfortunate. Unfortunate.
They were carnies.
They're very nice.
They were very nice people. Please don't get me wrong.
They were very nice carnies, but they were carnies.
But
they're carnies.
Yes, there were some carny stereotypes that were there. Now, speaking of ride-ops, though, I found it very interesting at Sylvan Beach how they had ride-ops switching from ride to ride to ride and just moving around weird. And okay, there's a line starting at this one. Okay, lock out this console, go over to a different ride and fire it up.
Yeah, not enough workers, so we'll just rotate.
Yeah, I'm glad they did that instead of just close half their rides. But I don't think I've ever seen that somewhere.
Yeah, I will say Camden did have one of the best looking mugs, though.
Ooh,
I love that mug.
Yeah,
that's a
the
good
Mobius
one.
handle is awesome.
Yes. So
I love that.
But that's Camden's.
I feel like I really missed out by not being able to go to Camden now.
No, the one you missed out on was Knoebels.
Oh,
Knoebels was very nice.
For sure.
Knoebels is an amazing park. Absolutely amazing.
I watched your last video from it when I knew you guys were headed there that day. I was like, oh, I missed it.
And my sister came with her children, and I got to spend the time with them. So it all worked out.
Good.
Brian, haven't been to Valley Fair, but I'll take Knott's over it any days. So, and okay, so Parker says, not all West Virginians are backwood hillbillies. Understand, just like not everybody in Southwest Missouri is Ozarkian hillbillies.
Woo!
Absolutely. So, not trying to drop stereotypes, because there were some people at Camden that were not. It was just kind of surprising how many were.
Mhm.
And like I said, they knew their stuff. They did fine. It was just kind of it, it was just something that um, I'm not used to seeing except at traveling carnivals, and even then you don't see it much anymore. So it's kind of
Mhm.
like, oh wow, hello. But no, they did a great job. We had a lot of fun with them.
Mhm. Yeah.
Even got called by an employee. So um, like I
Yeah.
said, it didn't have issues there, but it definitely needed some big time help with upkeep.
Yeah,
Um,
and it also was interesting. Their gift shop, I don't recall seeing that there was a credit card surcharge, but they did add one. And
Oh,
lots of
Mm.
places, merchandise availability was a bit of a challenge, particularly on shirts.
yeah,
yes, only large, no medium, which worked out, but
yeah.
it was
My
interesting.
my one complaint with Knobles, they had a couple shirts I loved. They were out of my size.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
They said that they usually only get a fixed number of shirts in a given size from their supplier, and those are the and like extra large and 2X, those sell out very, very quickly, leaving
yeah,
them with lots of smalls and maybe some mediums and a few larges. But my first thought on that is, well, adjust your order.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and then Kennywood, it's been 3 years since we went to Kennywood, and they had just about nothing new. Um,
Now, the turtle shirt that I got was a special release for this year.
yep,
They did have a number of Spinvasion things and Alien things for their newest ride that none of us rode, and um, I don't think the Decade shirts were. I don't
yeah.
believe those were there
So
when.
they had some new shirts,
Yeah,
but for me, who's after things like pins, magnets,
fair.
other stuff, that was all exactly the same.
Yeah, okay.
I'm looking at that and I'm going, I have this. I did find a new book, so I didn't get this one last time. But other than that, um, Kennywood had. Oh, Judy's going. Kennywood had the wood coaster models. Uh, Actually, I saw the same models, not the Kennywood versions, but the Cedar Fair parks all had same the same things, just specifically for their coasters. So you could find the wood coaster models at other parks, just different coasters. So those were kind of neat. They were outside my budget, um,
Hmm.
but uh,
So
I was
speaking of,
disappointed that Kennywood didn't have anything new as far as like pins and magnets and little doodads.
yeah,
So
now Dorney's roller coaster part souvenirs were interesting, even if they were 100, 400, or possibly worse.
yeah, This- yeah, one gift shop, and you'll see this in the video. Uh, they had actually had parts. I don't remember which coaster it was, but they had built lamps out of it and a couple other things, and were selling that. It was really neat. So, Carrie, did I take the pink tutu with me? No, I didn't do the pink tutu on this trip. Um, but no, one other neat thing, Cedar Point had these, and I'll put this together. You're talking about the wood coasters. This isn't wood; it's a Lego like thing. But I thought that was kind of cool, so
Hmm.
we did pick that up, and it was cheaper than the wood ones, so by a good chunk. So
Now,
We
other souvenirs that I thought were neat, the Cyclone plush, I thought was kind of cool.
mhm.
If I wouldn't have already run my credit card, I probably would have gotten at least one, possibly two of those, um, but didn't really want to go through the line again.
Let's see. I'm just kind of looking over. I got a stack of brochures. Um, let's see. So Knobles, we got a magnet. Um, oh, and then pin. Always, that's my standbys. Is the magnets and the pins. Eldridge, we got a couple magnets, and let's see, Dorney pins, and then oh, and I got a Talon magnet for Dorney because Talon was cool.
I know Amber got a number of things. What did you get?
Amber, I got a couple things here that are actually Amber's.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I don't have them in here with me, but there was the one mascot for one of the coasters. Oh yeah, that's for Joseph. Taco Cat.
Yeah, so a taco cat. And then let me see.
The little mascot I got looks like an angry Jawa.
So as for mascots, I've got the old logo Dorney
Yeah,
shirt
him.
with the creepy clown.
Mhm.
He's an
Yeah,
angry
that
Jawa.
is funny.
Billboards was cool.
And I've also got a shirt from a place my wife and I snuck off to for dinner that's coming up. And that was fun. And then I also got another Camden shirt. So those
And
didn't
then you
make
saw this in the video today. There's our flag. Oh, Megan's back.
Ooh, screen news.
Megan's back. Are we doing a haul?
Hello?
Yes, Megan, we're on the haul.
Is it haul time?
Yes,
Yes.
we got the bag of.
Yeah, the whole time's the haul time.
Got the
Oh, there's
haul.
another
Me
Knoebels
and
pin.
Craig have matching Zephyr ornaments.
Those are cool.
Yeah, those are
I
neat.
love it because it's purple, and it was the cutest little shortest train I've ever seen in my life. Oops.
It is very cute. Yes.
And we all managed to climb in and out without any injuries.
Somehow. Can I just start taking stuff out of my bag?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I found this at Dorney, and I wasn't expecting to find it. It's a nameplate in a sense. Even though my name's Megan, it's spelled like it's spelled down there. It's kind of weird. But they have this. I don't know who can see that on their screen, but it says Dorney Park. They didn't have my name, so I'm gonna make that into an ornament, and it's my new favorite, or a magnet, not an ornament. So I thought that was super clever.
Yes.
I did take the Luna magnet off my fridge and brought it to work. And it survived my water bottle spilling in my bag, thankfully.
Yay.
So there's that. I love that logo. It makes me happy.
It is beautiful.
Of water bottles, it was interesting that Knoebels had specialized labels for their Haunted Mansion's 50th anniversary. And I kept one of them. I'm not a huge fan of their iteration of Haunted Mansion, but I like that they had commemorative water bottles. I thought that was fun.
So
Nice.
when I get the Eldridge Park video done, this is one of the big sources. The guy who wrote this book is the guy who gave us the tour. So
Nice.
that was cool. And then none of these parks have brochures and maps anymore. It's terrible.
Else. Yeah.
So the one place I was able to get a map was Cedar Point. I had to pay $3 to get a poster-sized map. I'm like,
And half the time their apps weren't even working on the phone.
Yeah. But, yeah, big map.
So how current is that, and what version, if any, of Top Thrill is depicted?
Let's see. You know, this might even be the same one I have from my last trip because it definitely shows Top Thrill right in the middle of it. So, let's see. Does it have the mouse? Well, no, this would be new because it does have the wild mouse down at
All right.
the waterfront area. So,
I like the waterfront area. Anyway. I love all the nature. Are we going to talk about the nature at Knoebels, George? Because I love the nature at Knoebels.
if
was
you've
very
never
pretty.
been to Knoebels, it's hard to describe, but it's basically this park in the middle of the woods.
Yes.
It's like
With the
Soudar City, but with a campground inside.
It's
Yeah.
so well maintained. When you go on their little train ride through it, it's just like you're kind of whizzing through the woods all by yourself. It's relaxing. They have little bridges going over little river systems that are going right through the park. They're beautiful, what is it called? Not Ferris wheeled, with the horses, George.
Carousel?
Carousel, sorry.
Mhm.
It's just very vintage right in the middle of it. So I love
One
it.
of two carousels we did this trip that has the grab the ring.
Mhm.
And speaking of, did you show your Knoebels ring?
Did I? I guess I didn't.
I don't think you did. I saw your Eldridge one.
There it is.
And that's
Like, where
something
did I
else
put it?
that's interesting.
It's like
So Knoebels, they dispense rings pretty much continuously for the majority of the ride after the carousel is up to speed. Whereas Eldridge, they were only dropping one ring per cycle most of the time. Maybe
But it was
2 or
different.
3.
So Eldridge, if you grabbed the ring, you got a free ride on the carousel because they're a pay-per ride. And that was it. Knoebels actually has a deal where they've got a lion's mouth that when you have your rings, you toss them into the lion's mouth. That's how they get them back, and that's what you're supposed to do with them. Eldridge didn't have anything to do with the ring other than you get a free ride. So it was a little different.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, and there was 3 carousels, by the way, at Knoebels.
Yeah. And 5 fan organs. So, okay, so I don't want to run us too long. Carrie, did you see any white squirrels in the parks? No, but we did see a black one at Knoebels. I mean, at first I thought it was a cutout, and I realized no, it's a real squirrel, and it was black.
Squirrel.
It was weird. It was like I've never seen a black squirrel. So, first park that you would go back to, if you could.
Knoebels.
Dorney.
Dory?
Sorry, I spaced out a second. Park that I could go back to?
Yep.
Knoebels.
Knoebels?
Yeah, I might give a slight edge to Knoebels. Kennywood is up there, though, especially since I'm a pass holder at Kennywood.
Yep.
And, aside from the whip, Kangaroo, Turtle, and Noah's Ark are all a whole lot of fun.
If I could rent a cabin for a week at Knoebels, I would. I love
Yes.
Knoebels.
I guess I need to go to Knoebels.
Yes.
We tried to get you extend, but
I tried too.
Even though every time we arrive, it's pouring rain within the first day cycle. Yeah, it was quite like epic rain, and then it cleared. Yeah.
I think that it kind of. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Amber. Nope, go.
I think that it kind of added to the reason we all liked Knoebels was seeing our cousins have such a good time there, or my cousins, your nieces and nephew.
Yep. It was nice to have family there, but no, I love Knoebels. So, was Steel Curtain open when you went? No, it was not. It wasn't going to be open. So, unfortunately, no Steel Curtain. Worst thing for the trip, for me personally, be my health and realizing that more age than anything, I'm not up to doing the open to close multiple days anymore. That stank. I'm hoping to get up a little bit better by the time February comes around, but yeah, I was finding myself having to take breaks more than I wanted to.
But you are still better than you were at one point, George, because you didn't have to run to anything to facilitate. So that's the bright side.
I feel bad for you not being able to do that, but also it was kind of better for me because I could actually sit and breathe instead of running after you all day.
Well, I'm the only one who went back into Kennywood for more re-rides in the evening.
Yeah, because I was finding myself wiped out and either needing an afternoon break or just done. When we went to Kings Island, I did something I really did not want to do, and I spent a chunk of money on their fast lane, and we hit all the big coasters early because of it. But by the time we were done, I was done. I wanted to go back in the evening, and I couldn't. So,
did you see that shock collar mention? That was
no
funny.
shock collar needed.
I wouldn't go that far.
I would say the worst really, really was that sound level. I love Coney Island's Ferris wheel, but that noise level for me, it just was physically painful, and it was very long. That was, yeah.
The
Yeah.
worst was definitely the hotel we stayed at General Council.
Well,
Oh.
that was afterward.
I'll be talking about that one in a
Yes.
video.
Yes, we had a nice extended stay one that didn't work out quite the way we planned. But
It was kind of a cesspool.
Mhm.
So,
It was not quite what we expected.
so brief diversion here, Shane. I'll talk about this in a later video, but this same company was going to build a big park in Texas. Oh, and they were also going to build a huge resort here in Branson. Those never happened. There's no park coming to Oklahoma. Until it's built, don't believe it. Okay, there. Sorry, just they were asking in the chat, and I was like, don't get your hopes up. Okay. Worst part for Craig or Megan?
I would say that I'm gonna kind of dance around this, I guess, because I liked being at Coney Island because of the history, but that one part in the day when it was just so hot, so loud, and so smelly, I almost was at my limit for a sec. So
Yeah, it was like, let's get these things done so we can get away from this.
But it was super
Yeah.
cool being there for the history. And on the flip side of that, did you talk about while I was gone the ride on Cyclone?
Yep.
You
Yes,
did?
I did. I even showed the pictures.
Upside
I
down
didn't know
picture.
Cyclone had inversions.
Yeah, that happy lady in front of us, while all of us are cheering, "Yay, we're going again!" And she's like, "No."
Poor thing. Poor
So
So
that one was a really good part of it. That's not what I'm saying. I just thought of that, but it was just really kind of overwhelming that one part of the afternoon at Coney
Yeah.
Island. But yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, it's a little bit of a tough question there. It's going to be some sort of a toss-up between Sylvan and Coney. The challenge is Sylvan. I really liked the tie-dye shirt I got there. And it was interesting seeing all the different carousels and the two different owners with the embedded park. So that gave a
Mhm.
preview of what was to come with Dino and Luna being intertwined. But what I disliked the most there was that the rotor was down and had been for over a year, and they didn't bother to update their website.
That was
because
bad.
The
That was
reason
bad.
I picked that park was to
Yep.
include a rotor on the trip.
That
So
was
that was
bad.
very disappointing.
So
But-
yeah, the rotor closed when it was on the website. Their Mangles Hammerhead ride, which was on the website, and all that was there was the posts and gears and no actual ride.
Yeah, so
and
that
then
that was disappointing there. And Coney, it was the smoking in the environment in general.
Yeah.
It was more than I was willing to deal with, especially since there wasn't anything in particular left other than the Wonder Wheel that I especially wanted to ride. Although I did grab the carousel in Luna Park, the indoor carousel, just because this Whippet also, in fact, became more of a carousel tour
Carousel.
because we got on more different carousels than
Yeah.
we did because they're
Yes.
all operating. So
Yeah.
That's true.
and there were so many old classic hand carved. I think we hit every major original manufacturer of carousels on the trip. So that was really cool.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Sylvan Beach, because you had the two rides they advertised. There was the algae in the bumper boats. The Fascination game. I love the guys that were operating it because they were bored to tears, so they were just messing around. But
True.
the fact that I think every single Fascination board, if you don't know Fascination, you're rolling a ball into a bingo table essentially, and it falls through the hole and lights up a light.
It's skee ball with more holes at the end.
I think every single one of those tables had at least one of the holes that the light wasn't working properly.
Mhm.
And I love Fascination, but it was like, whereas when you go to Knoebels, who also has Fascination, you could see how everything was working at Knoebels. I do wish that the guys are having a little more fun at Knoebels. They're almost too professional. but
Or
it all worked at Knoebels versus at one point Amber won and her light didn't come on, and so the girl that was operating actually stuck her hand down in the hole to trigger it. It's kind of like,
Now, it
So-
was nice, though, at first at Sylvan when we were the only ones playing Fascination, so somebody in our group was going to win every time.
yes.
So that was nice. At least our money was going into getting tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a lot of fun with that. And like I said, the two kids that were working kids, they're probably 20-ish.
Yeah.
George, I thought of another rather challenging moment in our itinerary, but that was before our friends joined us. And that was when you were trying to get out of the parking lot at Cedar Point.
Oh, I saw that. That looked like an adventure. Oh my goodness.
So I couldn't show the whole thing, but there's actually signs there that say exit closed, go to the front of the park. So you drive around on that road, you get to the front of the park, and the exit's closed.
And
so
that points you to the back, and then you
back
go around.
and you end up back at the back again where it says go to the front of the park.
And there was people whizzing around like, I gotta get out of here. I'm in a maze.
And
they were driving
you
unsafe.
finally realize that as you come out towards the back, that there is a turn you make back onto the center road that you enter the parking lot on. And that center road goes all the way up to the front of the park, and then that becomes your left turn exit. So you have to get into the entrance to get out.
Some forced perspective cutouts of Big Ben in Parliament.
It was just like,
George is like, they're keeping us in here. Or was it Amber? We're hostages.
Eventually, you're going to get hungry or thirsty or something and go back into the
You
park.
can check in.
Well,
but
that's
you
what
can't check out.
cannibalism's for.
there was one exit out of it that was actually signed, and that was the one that it didn't go back down the causeway. It went off, and I can't remember what they call it, but it was the road that goes past all the expensive homes along that. And it's a long road out,
All
driving
the way
past
around.
fancy homes and everything. But
A
yeah.
way around. Yeah.
So, can I ever go to Cedar Point without something going wrong? No, something's got to happen.
No.
But this was just funny. It was like, okay, guys. Well, the other thing though, Cedar Point had a lot of coasters down constantly.
Yes.
I have one screenshot on my phone where every coaster but one is closed at one point.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know what was going on, but both days we were there, constantly Maverick was up for just a little bit and then was down for the rest of the time.
Was it earlier that day when your phone was haunted and saying the same message over and over and over and over and over?
Oh yeah, their app did that to me too. It kept popping up. I had to shut my phone down and restart it because the app hijacked my phone.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like,
which app was that? Was that Cedar Point?
The Cedar Point app. So yeah, Cedar Point has some weird stuff about it. I don't know.
So Amber's going to be leaving us. She just wanted to say goodbye.
I need to get something to eat because I'm not feeling great.
Mhm.
Okay.
Aw, feel better, buddy.
Yeah, we're all fighting stuff. Like so I'm feeling better. I'm actually impressed. I've held up an hour and I'm doing good. So
yeah.
Bye.
Mhm.
Bye.
So we did not mention, side trips to like get candy and stuff.
Oh, yes. That was rather amazing.
Margaret's so excited.
I am not a shopper, but it was rather overwhelming. But yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, so it was this store called Jubilee, or sorry, not Jubilee, Sweeties, right?
Yes, BA Sweeties.
Okay, yeah. Get the name right here.
Names are hard. It was funny because Amber kept talking about wanting candy. So after they said that a couple times when we were heading back up toward Cleveland, I said, well, we should stop here. And you want candy?
Yeah.
let's go to a warehouse of candy.
Oh
And
my
that-
gosh.
And it
This-
is a warehouse.
That's just the fancy chocolate bars.
I really think it's the museum of candy because it has like candy from my childhood, like before my
Okay.
childhood.
But you
That's
see, that's
like
all. That's just the
Amazing.
entrance. Trying to see if we got any other pictures. Oh, that's Jungle Gyms, which we'll talk about Jungle Gyms later too. But
Yep.
I got a whole video on Jungle Gyms. I don't have a video on Sweeties, but yeah, we came home with what, $100 worth of candy? Or
Yeah, a
something like
little
that.
over that.
It
Depends
was,
on if you count the vintage
amazing.
sodas or not that they also have.
Yeah.
What'd you guys bring me?
I know.
Kidding.
You have to come by,
I brought you a
Megan.
used wristband.
We have candy
Yes.
over there on the table, so you can just come in when we are all healthy. So
Yay!
I would
Just
say,
wait till we're
Megan, you've got
healthy.
the house key. We don't even have to be home. You can break in and steal stuff.
Nice. I
yeah.
have the
Was it
camera.
really breaking in at that point, though?
Yeah. Well, our vicious attack dog will go after her.
Yeah.
I will say though that Craig was very generous in many points. I will say that, not to embarrass him, and I appreciate it.
You're
very
welcome. It was fun sponsoring the trip,
much. I really.
And
or at
we
least the
appreciate
center
it.
portion of it.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, Sweeties was fun, and then our other big stop was this place, which I will have a video on it. And we ended up kind of rushing through. We spent time at the beginning, and then we realized we're going to spend a lot more money than we can afford at this place if we don't get out.
It was
But-
the most important areas, the interesting areas were the areas for like Japan and
International
Asia, South America. Those were fascinating because we've been overseas. Here's my dog. So
Yeah, it's a
anyway.
vicious attack dog I was telling you about.
Yeah, grr.
So, but yeah, Jungle Gyms was really neat. That was a nice way to kind of end the trip on the way home. So, because from there it was literally that morning, and we rolled all the way home that night, which I was
Yeah.
very grateful we did. We got home Sunday night, and Monday late morning I was showing signs of COVID. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we almost stretched the trip home until Monday, and I was like, oh, thank goodness we didn't.
Praise God, we did not. George, I'm going to bail out too for the dog and a few other things here. So
It's
love you
8:30.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
But anyways, that's kind of our trip in a nutshell. So Coaster fan, am I feeling better? I managed to get through the live stream. Tuesday, I was toast. So and I'm honestly, I'm not doing too bad right now. I've got 2 more days, so I got to be back at work. So Craig. But I honestly, I am doing better. I was on video call with the doc on Tuesday and get me the meds so I can get this stuff going and get it knocked down. So it hasn't been bad. Little congested still, which you may have heard, and a little bit low on energy, but otherwise I'm doing pretty decent today. So optimistic I'll be ready to go for 12-hour work shift Saturday. Yay. But
Well, and I'm hoping I will stay healthy too, because I've got a plane to catch on Saturday myself. But
yeah,
more to come
Craig
on that
got
story
COVID
as long as
3
it
days
happens.
before me. So
Yeah. So I should be okay, I think.
yeah.
Well, I didn't get COVID or anything, but completely separate from that, I'm dealing with an ear issue. So we're kind of all just going through it, I think.
Just a question of which part and exactly where it came from.
It was a great trip. It was a long trip, and I think most of us came home. Oh, I'm happy to be home.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to stay, but I also only stayed for 3 days.
Yeah.
But
Hey, Crazy Mike. Being under the weather, did it stop me from singing? Okay, so did I sing on the trip?
Sometimes. It could have been worse. It could have been worse.
By the way, for those who don't understand, it's a joke that we love playing with.
Did he sing?
I don't even remember where or when it started, but when we're on the road together, Craig is constantly feeding me lines, baiting me into singing.
Oh, I'll feed them in the chat too during stream.
Yes, absolutely. So
common. I've got a shirt about speaking in show tunes, and
yeah.
I'm definitely into quoting things.
Every now and then I'll get somebody who's serious. Does Craig really hate it? Is it that? No, it's a joke. Oh, Mark, not
spoiler.
Craig.
Yeah, exactly.
So just so you know, yes, we have a lot of fun with it, and that's why it's so much fun when you see the video that posted today at Rye with both of us singing "Whip It."
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I need to watch that after work.
Yeah.
I don't know where this fits into the live stream. I don't know if it was talked about while I was gone, but can I add just 2 highlights that I have?
Ooh.
Oh.
No. Okay, great. So I had never been, this being the Whip It tour, I've never been on a whip till this ride. This trip, I went on a whip ride on this trip, and it was really fun. I understand the way of the whip now. So
2 thumbs way up. 4 rides in
Way
a row
up.
at Dorney, I think it was, and that was your first whip.
Yeah, because I didn't do the one at Playland just because it was looking
Yeah.
beat
They
up.
were like, don't let that be your first whip, because it was just.
No.
I think I only rode Playlands twice, maybe a third.
I did one.
Twice. I think
Yeah, you rode the second time just to be on there with me, and it was like,
Right.
Yep,
Yeah,
that was enough.
okay. That was
Yeah,
enough.
you guys didn't look like you wanted to go through it a third time anyway, and I was like, this is looking a little sketch, so I'm going to
Yeah,
skip
it was
that
very
one.
sketch. And
Yeah.
based on the performance of the other attractions, might have been a good choice not to go for
Yeah.
that third try.
Yeah,
Now,
because what
Pennywood's
day
I rode
after
12
us?
times, and Dorney's a total of 6. So on this
I did
trip.
4. Did 4. That was solid.
4 is a good start. It's a good start.
Yep.
You know,
4 is a good start. My second
even the whip
highlight.
to ride a coaster, I don't know. It wasn't flying turns, but you do you.
No,
It's all good.
that's what I have to try out next. Seems fun. My second highlight was specifically also at Dorney. I feel like all I'm talking about is Dorney, but it was my favorite stop. When me and you, Craig, and Amber rode the Scrambler, for some reason, I just had a ball that time on the Scrambler. I had not been on a Scrambler in a long time, and it was way more fun than I remember. That was just like a good closing out part to my part of the trip.
Yep, they were riding Scrambler. I was riding the wood coaster. It's right there. Thunderhawk, I think is
Something
what
like
it's called.
that.
Yeah. So I enjoyed my coaster ride. They enjoyed the Scrambler ride. It actually took us about the same amount of time to do both. Kind of jogged around, rode, came back. Yeah, it was great. So
you know what was? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, we need a company to bring back and start making the whips again.
Yes, that would be awesome. It also was fun at Dorney. I like getting on an Enterprise again. It's been ages since I rode an Enterprise, ever since Geauga Lake, half mile that way, closed.
Yeah. So good trip. It was fun. So Monday coming up, we've got the big announcement at Six Flags, Silver Dollar City. But I will be at Silver Dollar City's big announcement, so I will probably stream live from it. And then I will do a reaction video, which I'll probably record Monday night and post Tuesday for everybody. So that's coming up. And that's in addition to my regular live stream, which will come up in like 2 weeks. And that's when I'll do the mail call and stuff. So we got 2 more live streams this month coming up. And then I'll have the video that's going to talk about what not to do at a hotel, because, did we hear everybody doing what you shouldn't do at a hotel?
Me working at a resort right now really needs that video.
You know what? I may get together with you on some of this, because between that, we could have some fun.
For sure. Let me know.
So we've got that coming up. I've got a couple other ideas I'm working on as well. including a look at character training, which is something I realized I've never done in depth. So I'm going to actually do an in-depth look at how they trained us to work with characters, and maybe looking back at some of my old videos and a few other things coming up. So thank you guys so much for being with us on this. Hour and 10 minutes, and I'm probably going to shut down and go. So, but thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Hope you all have a good night and that you had a good time. We will catch y'all later.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you guys.